I'm Mardle, and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry.
Yeah, that's right. Josh's Dartistry, episode number 21. It's great to be back with you for a main show, a full show. This is what we originally started the project as, so it's nice to all three of us to get around the table and bring a full show to you. Let's introduce you to the regular team. On my right-hand side, Josh Gorton. How are you, bud?
Not too bad, thanks, John. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Nottingham, we'll get straight onto that, I'm sure, very shortly. But you had the pleasure of being in Nottingham for the Premier League the other night, Josh.
Yeah, very enjoyable night. Fallon, Sherrock stole the headline for a number of reasons, but managed to catch up with a lot of Premier League players, the likes of Rob Cross, Michael van Gerwen. It was a great night of darts, a lot of draws as well.
Yeah, lovely. I look forward to having a chat about that. And, of course, on our left-hand side, Statsman himself, it's Neil Connor. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. Very good.
Good. You've been a busy boy recently, Neil?
Not really.
Don't say that, because it makes it sound like you've been sitting on the sofa for 3 weeks.
Well, this weather hasn't helped, let's be honest about it.
Storm, what did we have? We had Storm Kira, and then Storm
Dennis.
Yeah.
Dennis the Menace.
But let's be honest, weekends, it's not really... you don't really want to go out, do you? Let's be honest.
No, lots of local football called off as well, which is never. I see some of the lads on Saturday were looking for a game to go to, weren't they? And a lot of the football was called off.
Yep, which was probably a good thing for your mob.
Yeah, and it's oh, thank you very much. And it's an advent for 4G pitches, isn't it? But never mind. Moving on from that. Yeah, welcome to episode 21 of the Josh's Dartistry podcast. Josh, we've got quite a bit to chat about tonight, haven't we? Since we last recorded a bounce-out show, I think we've had the Masters since then as well, haven't we?
Yeah, we recorded just after the BDO World Championships. We've got the Masters to catch up on, the start of the Premier League, and the Pro Tour season's also kicked off, and there's been some electrifying performances, great averages, and a lot of 9 darters as well. Cool.
So we look forward to that. Neil, your regular sections, you're going to be chatting to us about some odds a bit later on, I take it?
Yeah, so we'll look forward to this week's Premier League darts, and we'll look at the Premier League darts overall. Is there anything else you want to have a look at?
Anything else coming up, Josh, on the horizon, calendar-wise?
We've got the European Tour starting soon and the Pro Tour continuing, but I'm not sure if you're going to have odds available for that at this moment.
I will have a look and come back to you.
Can you bet on the Pro Tour?
Yeah.
You can, yeah.
Can you? I didn't think that you'd be able to.
No,
I thought
you
because
can,
it was sort of
only with selected bookmakers, not every bookmaker.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, we can have a chat about that then. And then Neil, of course, you'll bring us the very latest instalment of Challenge Josh.
Yes, and I'm. I can always tell when I do the research for this whether I'm looking forward to it or not. And this one was fairly mundane, and then I arrived across a couple of crackers. So
Lovely.
One in particular, which I'm really looking forward to. So.
Okay, so Challenge Josh fans, particularly those of you who work with Josh in the office, who I know really enjoy and look forward to Challenge Josh. I'm sure this will be a good one.
I think it has the potential, for sure.
Okay, good. Keep your ears open. We'll do that, and then we've got a few news items to discuss, which we'll bring to you, and we've got some questions coming as well, Josh, haven't we? From around the internet, people wanting to ask us a few questions. We've had a few come in, haven't we?
You have indeed, yes. We'll get to them at the end of the show as normal.
Okie dokes. Thanks for downloading us. Thanks for checking us out. This is the Josh's Dartistry podcast, episode 21. You can find us on all the usual good podcast providers: Apple, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, all that gumph. www.joshisdartistry.com is, of course, the website. Check out Josh's Facebook page as well. You can follow us on Twitter at Josh's Dartistry. I'll tell you what else we haven't, talking to Twitter, guys, tell you what else we haven't mentioned there in a little summary at the top of the show. Last Man Standing, Josh, was, of course, launched last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had 107 entrants, I think, which was beating last year's total. We had about 80 last year, but it's been decimated so far. The Premier League is very hard to predict, as I can vouch for. And yeah, we've had a lot of people exit the competition.
There's a story there as well, isn't there?
Hang on, let's just do a quick straw poll. If you're still in the Last Man Standing competition, say aye. All three of us are out.
However, I know why Josh is saying it's so difficult. So on our little WhatsApp group,
yeah, we have a little league.
We have a little league where we do score predictions, and you get 3 points for a correct score and a 1 point for a correct result. Josh is actually bottom of the table as it stands.
I think I've got 2 correct results out of 10 so far.
That statement,
Yeah.
it's really difficult to call, was loaded.
And also, Neil, the night you launched that, I unfortunately didn't see your message till late on. I think I was asleep. And I didn't give my predictions until the first 2 or 3 games had already gone.
So John is better asleep.
And I'm still above you in the league
And
table.
Animal didn't do the first week, and he's overtaken him week 2.
Who's top? Drazy? Top?
Jordan is top.
Jordan's top. We'll have to get Jordan back on the show soon because he quite clearly knows more about darts than Josh does. So we'll get Jordan back on. Okay, yeah, check us out on Twitter at Josh's Dartistry. We'll give you the full details about the Last Man Standing competition again, and just remind everyone how that works. But in the meantime, thanks for checking us out. And here we go with episode 21.
You're listening to Josh's Dartistry. Don't forget, you can check us out on Facebook by going to the Josh's Dartistry page. You can follow us on Twitter at Josh's Dartistry, or go to the website www.joshisdartistry.com for all the latest news and insight into the world of darts. You can also leave us a comment or a question via our voicemail box. Just call 07739 738 329 and leave us a message, and we may play it live on air. Now back to the show.
This is Raymond van Barneveld, and you listen to George Dartistry.
Okay, Josh, let's have a quick chat about the Masters. Now, I know it took place a few weeks ago now, and we've had a couple of nights of Premier League, but let's just touch on it because we haven't had a chat about it on the JDP yet. Back-to-back TV titles for Peter Wright.
Yeah, the season opening Masters is always quite an interesting one because a lot of the players, it's the only kind of period in the calendar where they can have some time off. They often go away on holiday, and it's been about a month since they've played, so a lot of the players are quite rusty, and we saw that, I think, throughout the tournament. Michael van Gerwen was bidding to win a 6th consecutive Masters, but was beaten in the first round. The first time he's lost there since 2014. So that really opened up the tournament. And yeah, Peter Wright took full advantage, played really well throughout the tournament. He beat Michael Smith in the final 11-10. Had a little bit of fortune because Michael Smith missed 3 match darts to win his first TV title. Although on the balance of play, I think Peter was the better player in that final and could have won the game earlier. But yeah, back-to-back TV titles for Peter.
We'll come back on to Peter Wright in a moment, obviously, Josh, but a big name exited in round 1.
Yeah, Michael van Gerwen, he always likes to send a statement out at first tournament of the year, and particularly having lost his World Championship title, I really thought he'd come out all guns blazing, but it's been well documented he's changed manufacturers, joined with Winmouse, who's using new darts for the first time in around about a decade, and he just looked a little bit uncertain. Johnny Clayton didn't average anything stratospheric, but he was just very solid, took out a number of good combination finishes. Michael struggled on the doubles, but a lot of people wrote him off or questioned his form. He has silenced the critics since in the Premier League.
Neil, Johnny Clayton, they'll be over the moon with that, knocking out MVG in round 1 of that competition.
Yeah, I think he's a decent player, Clayton. I watched him a number of times on both the Pro Tour and European Tour last year. And when he gets going and he gets some momentum, he is a top player. So be interesting to see how he gets on this week. I think it is in the Premier League in Cardiff. But one of my favourites is the Ferret.
Yeah, fair play to Johnny. Excellent performance. And Josh, talking of good performances, it's also nice to see Gary Anderson make his first semi-final for around 13, 14 months, wasn't it?
Definitely. Gary had a disappointing year last year. Won the World Cup of Darts alongside Peter Wright, but in terms of the individual TV tournaments, he didn't go beyond the quarterfinals and looked like he was lacking match sharpness, but he played really well at the Masters. Beat Gerwin Price 10-2. That's a real statement of intent. And he lost 11-7 in the semis to Peter Wright. Peter finished superbly in that contest, but it was great to see Gary playing well and enjoying himself again. He admits he's got the hunger back, and that's reflected in his performances.
Josh, just give us a brief summary of Peter's route to the final. Who did he play? How did he get there?
He kicked off against Joe Cullen. It was a good quality match, that one. Quite tight. Joe acquitted himself well. Peter won 10-7 in the first round. He beat Dave Chisnell 10-0 in the quarterfinals. Chizzy had a nightmare, averaged about 78. He's using glasses now, Chizzy, for the first time, and he's produced some quite poor performances on the Pro Tour, so maybe he's adjusting to that. As I mentioned previously, he beat Gary Anderson 11-7 in the semi-finals, all Scottish affair, and then Michael Smith in the final. Michael appearing in his 5th TV final. couldn't get over the line. For the second time in his career, he missed match darts to win a title, missed 3 darts in the decider. He was heartbroken, but he's just got to bounce back and get back on the horse and believe that his time will come.
Neil, it's a real turnaround in fortunes for Peter Wright, isn't it, at the start of the year to win the Worlds, which I don't think a lot of people saw coming. We discussed on the last Bounce Out show the sort of poor form Peter had endured at the start of 2019. Obviously, he picked up and improved and obviously won the Worlds. But to win the Worlds and then follow it up with a big win in the first televised tournament of the year, he's really set his stall out for 2020, isn't he?
Yeah, and I think that's impressive that you can roll off a World Championship win and, you know, it might not have been unexpected to him, but I think it was to many, many people. And then to roll straight in and win the first televised tournament post World Championships, I think shows the good place that he's in at the moment. I think maybe, and I'm hoping it's the case, and his Premier League performances so far may not be evidence of it, but maybe that World Championship win now has given him the confidence to go to that next level and the belief.
Okay, well, we will see how Peter gets on in the coming months. Let's move away from the Masters, Josh. We had the launch, of course, of the Premier League, didn't we, on February the 6th. First night was obviously in Aberdeen. And, talk to us about what went down on night 1, Josh.
The main event of the opening night, as has been tradition in the last few years, was a rematch of the World Championship finals. It was Michael van Gerwen taking on Peter Wright. Peter looking to do the double over Van Gerwen, if you like, and he started well, went 2-0 up. Missed a few key doubles in 3 consecutive legs, and Michael ran out a 7-5 winner with 4 ton-plus finishes.
Is that something they purposely do every year, try and replicate the World Final?
They have done in the last 3 or 4 years, yeah.
I didn't realise that. I thought it was randomly pulled out of the hat and it just happened to be a happy coincidence. I didn't realise that.
No, that's been done for the last 4 or 5 years, I think, now. So it's obviously set the stall out for the Premier League, kick it off with a bang, and it was a great game. I think Michael averaged 104. Peter was averaging 100 until the last couple of legs. Peter probably shouldn't have lost the game.
No, he shouldn't have.
In truth, no.
Van Gerwen was struggling a little bit early on, wasn't he? And I thought Peter Wright had another opportunity to put him away, and he kind of has played him back into a bit of form.
Yeah, indeed he has.
And he got better and better as the game went on, and as the door opened for him. But as you say, that he should have been walking off with a 6-6 draw at the very least.
Definitely, yeah. And another big event in Aberdeen, Gary Anderson's homecoming, his return to the Premier League, is well documented. He missed out last year through injury. He was 5-4 down against Darryl Gurney. Looked like he was going to be on the end of a defeat, but a brilliant last 3 legs. He won the last 3 legs in 37 darts, Gary, to kick off with a win. So that was a great win for Gary. We saw Glen Durrant, one of the 2 debutants this year. He beat Michael Smith 7-3 in the opening match of the tournament. It was a case of missed doubles, missed opportunities for Michael Smith. Durrant was clinical. Hit 7 of his 9 attempts at double.
What are we thinking about Durrant's new walk-on? What do you reckon?
Not a massive fan of that Pump It Up. Not because it's a bad song, just because it was played continuously at the BDO World Championship. But,
I just think it's a bit repetitive. I know it's Glenn's probably gone with it to try and G up the crowd as he comes on, but I'm not a massive fan, Neil. What are you thinking about that?
I don't mind it.
Do you even know the song? I mean,
yes, I do,
you're not exactly down with the kids. I don't know if it's the sort of dance.
How dare you?
Thing
no. I know the song and I'm okay with it.
You're sitting there in a Guns N' Roses t-shirt.
Yeah.
I mean, Guns N' Roses haven't been relevant since 1989.
And that's why they're playing at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this year.
Talking of things that aren't relevant.
Okay, well, we'll see how. Maybe that's a bit of a grower, Glenn's new walk-on, but good luck to him. Sorry, Josh, I interrupted you there. Carry on, mate.
No, so as I mentioned there, Glen Durrant, perfect start to the tournament for him, 95 average. He's probably taken over the mantle of James Wade in terms of the combination finishes, anything between the 70 and 120 mark. He just seems to hit so regularly, and I think if he can maintain that throughout the Premier League, he's got a real chance of competing for the top 4 spots. So yeah, great start for Duzzer. One of the best games of the night ended up being Gerwin Price against Rob Cross. Now I think a lot of people thought that Gerwin, including myself, would win quite comfortably because Rob Cross had a really poor World Championship, had a horror show at the Masters, averaged 83 against Adrian Lewis. But Rob, despite looking a little bit out of his comfort zone, still averaged 100 in that match and was 6-4 up. Gerwin fought back well to salvage a point. But it was good to see Rob Cross showing a bit of form. And then we saw John Henderson, the first of this year's challengers, and it was a real damp squib. I mean, the walk-on was terrific for John, but having drawn with Michael van Gerwen and played so well last year, he really didn't perform against Nathan Aspinall. Nathan wasn't at his best himself, but hit a 170 checkout in the penultimate leg. Ran out a 7-3 win. It was just, deflating for John because he's probably the worst I've seen him play on TV for a couple of years.
He was averaging 68 at one point.
78, yeah.
78, sorry.
If only someone had come up with an alternative idea for the for the challenger matches. Anyway.
Yeah, although I do think he was one of your challengers in one of your 19 lists, John.
Yeah, he was actually only for the walk on, but good win for Nathan Aspinall making his Premier League debut. So that was the opening night, Josh, and then of course 7 days later, February the 13th, Motorpoint Arena, Nottingham. You had the pleasure of being there for night 2, didn't you?
Indeed, I did. Yeah, and it kicked off with a repeat of last year's UK Open final between Rob Cross and Nathan Aspinall. Aspinall was a big favourite coming into the contest because of his form at the Pro Tour over the weekend and his Week 1 win. He was a better player for large periods. He was 3-2 and 5-4 up, but he couldn't cement the break of throw he secured. And Rob Cross came back really well, finished very comfortably, 2-ton-plus finishes, and ran out a 7-5 winner. So Cross's first win of the season, 3 points from a possible 4. Really good start for Voltage to the season. Then we saw Gerwin Price against Michael Smith. Another prediction I got wrong. I fancied Gerwin for this one because Michael didn't perform in Week 1. But Smith was incredible for the first 6 or 7 legs, averaging 120, was 6-2 up. Showed a little bit of finishing line fever. We've seen that a lot with Michael Smith over the last few months, failing to close out matches. And it happened again, 6-2 up. Gerwin fought back to draw 6-all.
Gerwin Price opening his Premier League account with 2 draws. Last year he was on fire in the Premier League, but it hasn't really happened for him so far. I know we're only week 2, and there's a long way to go yet, Josh. But he certainly hasn't exploded into his Premier League campaign yet, has he?
No, he hasn't. But last year he started, as you mentioned, off in blistering form. But he was drawing a lot of matches that he should have won. Whereas this year it's almost been the opposite. He's come back from 6-4 down against Cross, 6-2 down against Smith. He admitted last year, I think he lost only 4 matches, but he drew too many games. That's why he missed out in the playoffs. He won't want to repeat that, but it's more positive for him because he's now drawing games when he's not at his best.
Yeah, he's shown a bit of steel, isn't he, even when he's up against it?
Exactly. I mean, if he can translate his performances now into victories, he's got every chance. I don't think he'll be too concerned. But having said that, Rob Cross, Michael Smith, I think he'd have been hoping for more than 2 points from a possible 4, but plenty of time to turn it around.
Do you not think he finished the year in such spectacular fashion? Okay, it fizzled out a bit at the World Championships that it's difficult to maintain that level, and he was performing at the very highest level where we were saying this guy's going to go head-to-head with MVG for years to come. So to maintain that kind of form over such a long period, I think is difficult. So maybe he's just having a little bit of a down spell, and we'll start to see him hit the heights that he did towards the back end of 2019.
Yeah, as you mentioned, I mean, he's not been playing poorly. I think his averages, he averaged 98 against Michael Smith, 96, 97 against Rob Cross. It's certainly very respectable, but we've seen him capable of putting 105, 106 averages in. It could be a matter of time. And he's in Cardiff this week on home soil against Darryl Gurney, who's pointless in this year's Premier League, so perfect opportunity to try and get off the mark with a win.
Someone who's not pointless, but still without a win in the first 2 weeks, Josh Michael Smith, hasn't started probably the way he would have wanted to.
No, I think he was really disappointed against Glen Durrant. He referenced that in the interview, which we're going to play later on, because he saw Durrant as a perfect opportunity really to get a win on the board. We know Durrant's such a great finisher, but Michael Smith has got the scoring prowess to outplay Durrant, but he just missed a few opportunities. But he played really well against Gerwin Price, and yes, he'll be disappointed from 6-2 up not to have won the game, but he's got to take the positive from his performance. 120 average after 7 legs. He fell off that a little bit, 102 in the end, but if he can maintain that sort of form, he'll certainly start picking up points sooner rather than later.
Another person who's without a win, Peter Wright, in the Premier League. He had a 6-all draw with Gary Anderson, Josh.
Yeah, it's not been the best of starts for Peter, only 1 point. But having said that, he has played Michael van Gerwen and Gary Anderson. So again, no real concerns for Peter. He also twisted his ankle, didn't he, in the lead up to the match earlier in the week. And he attempted his walk-on. I don't quite know why, jumping across the stage. And it seemed to just make it even worse. And to be fair, he started off well, Peter, but then he really did lose his way. Maybe he was in pain, I'm not too sure. But he only averaged 88, which is well below what we come to expect from Peter Wright. But to his credit, he still fought back and got a point, 12 darts on the deciding leg. So Gary, I think, will feel really disappointed. There's a missed opportunity there for Gary Anderson, but he's had a good start, 3 points from a possible 4 on his return.
Highlight of the night for me, Josh, Glen Durrant versus challenger Fallon Sherrock.
Yeah, terrific occasion, great atmosphere. We're all expecting, an exciting game. We all wonder, could Fallon replicate the sort of performance she should produce at the World Championship? Because you've got to remember, since Q School, she hasn't played any competitive darts, whereas Glen is, I know he missed out on the Masters, but he's played a bit on the Pro Tour. There was a bit of uncertainty about whether she'd be able to cope with the atmosphere, capacity, crowd, but she took it all in her stride. She did it at Ali Pali as well. Glen is one of the best finishers in the game, but he lacked a little bit of composure, I think. I think the crowd did get to him. He was insistent after the game that the crowd didn't put him off. He was very praiseworthy of the crowd, but he missed a lot of darts at double, 26%. I don't think I've seen that from Glen in a long while. And to Fallon's credit, as she did at Ali Pali, she just hit her doubles, a couple of 12-dart legs at really important moments. And yeah, she could have won the game 6-4 up. I thought that would be ironic, really, wouldn't it, to be her to be the first challenger to win a game in the Premier League. And she came very close. She was on a 2-darter to win the game, and Glenn took out that 70 to his credit in the last leg to snatch a point. But great occasion for Fallon. She did herself proud.
Neil, it was another fantastic performance from Fallon, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, she's she's unfazed by playing on the stage in front of a big crowd. She obviously has the advantage of the crowd are very much on her side, and I do think that Glen was a little bit rattled at times during the game. But I think we've come to the point now where we've had the likes of Lisa Ashton and Fallon now competing and holding their own very much in these competitions, and I think it's now the norm. And I think I did read something about Lisa Ashton. She's quite used to playing the men in exhibitions, so it's not that different for them. And I think they've shown that they can reach those levels. Fallon seems to be someone that can up her game as well when it's really needed. So long may it continue.
I think Durrant was very generous after the game with the handshakes and the congratulations, but he had a bit of a face on him at the end of the game. He didn't look happy, did he, Glenn? That he sort of performed not as well as he'd hoped to, Josh.
No, he said in his press conference after the game, if he'd have been offered 3 points after two weeks, he'd have taken it all day long. But that would have probably been a draw against Michael Smith and beaten Fallon. I think he saw this as a perfect opportunity to get 4 points on the board and kind of ease any relegation fears or elimination fears straight away. But I think he's got to take the positives. I mean, he was 6-4 down under the cosh. Let's be honest, the crowd were on his back. He was facing the prospect of being the first Premier League player to lose to a challenger, and he hit 2 15-darters in the last 2 legs. So he deserves credit for the way he fought back. And if he beats Gary Anderson this week, it'll all be forgotten. But yeah, I think it was a great occasion for Fallon. I'm so pleased for her that it wasn't a damp squib, because after the Ali Pali, it would have been a shame if she'd have come here and not done herself justice. But she certainly showed that it was no fluke at Ali Pali.
Does Fallon have an official nickname yet, Josh? Have we? I mean, some people are
Queen
referring...
of the Palace.
Yeah, the Queen of the Palace is something I've heard. But is that the official nickname now for Fallon?
She hasn't got one. A lot of people have been calling her the history maker, but Brendan Dolan might be copywriting that.
Can you just be careful with the questions that you ask?
Why?
Please?
Why?
Well, you may be sabotaging my...
Oh, really? Oh, okay, yeah. Let's not get into Challenge Josh territory. Although I did see friend of the show, Jackie Oatley's discussed that before on Twitter, trying to find a new nickname for Fallon. My suggestion to Jackie was Fallon d'Or, a play on the...
I like that, John.
A play on the Ballon d'Or award for being the best at your sport. I thought that was quite good. No, Neil, you don't look impressed.
What about Superstar? Fallon Superstar Sherrock.
No.
Even worse.
Have you got any other better suggestions, Neil, for Fallon?
Not at the moment.
Actually, because it was in Nottingham... Shockwave, but because it was in Nottingham, where she played, she was being bandied around as the Sherrock of Nottingham, which I thought was quite clever.
Very good.
Not something that obviously we can use 12 months of the year, but I thought it was quite intelligent for the night, Josh.
No, very good. And I think Dave Clark at the top of the show called it Valentine's Day. Of course, it being the day before Valentine's Day, I thought that was very good as well.
Okay, enough puns. Let's leave that to the editors of The Sun. Josh, talk to us about Daryl Gurney versus Michael van Gerwen.
Yeah, well, I bumped into Daryl actually in the Nando's in Nottingham about 2 hours before.
Should you be revealing that? Should you be revealing the secrets of Daryl Gurney's eating habits before a big game?
Listen, it's a staple diet for all darts players, John, although he didn't do the trick on this occasion because he was beaten 7-1 by Michael van Gerwen. I thought at one point he was going to suffer his second whitewash in as many years in the Premier League. He got beaten 7-0 by Wade last year. He didn't play poorly, Daryl. Michael was just really ruthless on the doubles. 105 average, 60% of the finishes. It's just almost standard Michael van Gerwen now. It's incredible to think that after the Masters, people were writing him off and questioning his form, his darts. Would he be able to kind of achieve the success he has in previous years? He's the only man on maximum points, top of the league, 104.5 tournament average. I mean,
I think that Wright game was so key. I think if Wright had done him again, we may not have seen that performance in week 2, but he won week 1 and it's business as usual. I
mean, he's topped the league in the last 7 years. He's never not finished top of the league, and for him, that's really important because obviously winning the tournament is the be-all and end-all, but topping the league phase over 16, 17 weeks underlines that you are the best player in the world and you can do it week in, week out. And he wants to make it 8 out of 8. And to be fair, I can't really see anyone stopping him because it's so wide open. There's so many players dropping points here and there. I think Michael will top the league again. So apart from that, though, you look at it now, he's the only one out after 2 weeks, the only man with maximum points. That shows how open it is this year.
It also shows, Josh, after 2 weeks that, as I mentioned earlier, we've got a long way to go yet, but the league table is kind of taking shape already with people like, Gurney, Smith and perhaps Peter Wright at the wrong end of the table already.
Yeah, I don't see Peter Wright staying there. I really don't. He's played Van Gerwen and Anderson. He's got Rob Cross in week 3, so it's not been an easy start for Peter Wright. But I think he'll work his way up the table. He hasn't had the best record, in fairness, over the last couple of years in the Premier League. But he's not changing his darts. He's not playing poorly. He's still producing some great averages on the Pro Tour. Daryl Gurney's got a big game this week against Gerwin Price in Cardiff. I think if he loses that, the panic could start to set in. But having said that, he's played Anderson and Van Gerwen, so it's not been the easiest start for him. I think after 4 or 5 weeks, it might start to take shape. But I don't think we can read too much into the results. Maybe the performances more than the results so far.
Neil, a discussion that took place on our WhatsApp group about the Premier League. We were discussing entertainment value after the fact there were 3 draws on Thursday night just gone. What are your thoughts on that? Of the 5 games, 3 of them ended in 6 all draws. Is the Premier League still entertaining for you?
Yeah, and I think a draw is probably one of the best sources or best results you can get for entertainment because it means it's neck and neck the whole way. So I'd rather see that than a 7-1 victory. So draws are fine for me, and the entertainment value very much still there.
Yeah, try supporting Arsenal. We had 13 of them this season.
I could see you were.
Do you know what I mean? It always brings it back to Arsenal. How does this affect Arsenal? No, I agree. I'd much rather watch a 6-all draw, Josh, than the sort of almost whitewash that Van Gerwen performed on Gurney.
I think, to be fair, those sort of 7-1, 7-2 scorelines, they're becoming far more rare now in the Premier League. It's so evenly matched, and it's great to see the players, taking it the distance. I think there's very little to choose between a lot of these players. It's just the odd missed double here and there. They're the fine margins in this tournament because we've got 9 of the best players in the world, so the smallest of margins can have the biggest of impacts.
Okay, so that's your night 2 results. The Premier League has kicked off and is entertaining us all on a Thursday night. Josh, this week, night 3 comes from the Motorpoint Arena in Cardiff. Just quickly talk us through the fixtures on Thursday, mate.
Okay, so the night kicks off in Cardiff with world champion Peter Wright taking on the world number 4 Rob Cross. Cross obviously on 3 points, Peter only with 1 point to his name. Second match of the night is the next challenger, Johnny Clayton, making his Premier League bow against Michael Smith. That'll be interesting because Clayton in the weekend had a couple of real good 10+ averages on the Pro Tour. So if he can translate that into the Motorpoint Arena, who knows? Third match is Michael van Gerwen against Nathan Aspinall. You can't really back against Michael making it 3 wins from 3, can you? But the Asp is a dangerous player. Already got a win to his name, so that could be an interesting one. Then we've got Daryl Gurney against a home favourite Gerwin Price. Gurney still pointless, the only man without a point to his name. He'll be desperate to get off the mark, but it won't be easy against the Iceman on home soil. And the night ends with 3-time BDO world champion Glen Durrant taking on the 2-time Premier League winner Gary Anderson. So that should be a cracker, that one.
Neil, of those 5 matches there next Thursday, which one wets your whistle the most? What's the highlight? What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to seeing Johnny Clayton. I think he can beat Michael Smith. I really do. As Josh said, he was in good form at the weekend. Smith's form has been
up and down,
very up and down, inconsistent. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm also looking forward to Peter Wright versus Rob Cross, because Rob Cross, I think we all thought was going to get off to a very sluggish start because his form was so bad, and he started very well. So looking forward to that one.
Durrant v Anderson for me, Josh. I'm really looking forward to that. Ever since Durrant has joined the PDC, I've really enjoyed seeing him coming up against the very best that the PDC has got to offer, and I think it'll be another stern test for Glenn. But I expect him to really put on a performance, and dare I say it, he might be my little pick next week to win that.
Should be a great game. They're both good friends off the Okia. They've been practicing together and spending a bit of time in the Premier League nights, as you do, So I think it should be a good game. If he can match Gary's scoring, I think Glenn could have the edge, because I think Gary's still just lacking a little bit of sharpness on the doubles at certain moments. But I would say Gary might have the edge in the scoring. So I think it's a doubling against the scoring. So it could be a very tight match. I think it'll go the 12 legs. I can't pick a winner at the moment. Josh,
interested there, Neil, was as well talking about Johnny Clayton possibly picking up the win against Michael Smith. It would represent the first time a challenger/contender had ever won a game in the Premier League. Hasn't happened yet, has it?
It hasn't. We've had 4 draws, but yeah, no challenger has yet to win a game. I think Johnny's form is strong enough. I just worry whether he'll be phased a bit by the atmosphere, because he's admitted before when he's represented Wales at the World Cup of Darts, he felt the pressure of representing his nation. I know it's not the World Cup here, but he's still representing his nation. He wants to do him proud, and I just hope the atmosphere and the occasion doesn't get to him, because I think if he can remain composed, he's got every chance, as Neil says, of getting a result against Michael Smith.
It needs a contender to win, doesn't it?
Well, I thought Fallon was going to be, again, the history maker. I thought Fallon was going to be the first challenger to nick a Premier League win, but unfortunately, well, I say unfortunately, not unfortunately for everyone, but Glen came back and forced a draw. So we still wait for our first challenger win.
I think we will have one this year. I really do. I think Luke Humphreys is in great form against Gary Anderson. He hasn't had many results in the Pro Tour, but he's playing really, really well. Drew with Gerwen Price last year, averaging over 100. Chris Dobie against Gurney in Newcastle in a few weeks, perhaps. Bunting against Rob Cross. Bunting has got the pedigree on the big stage. Jeffrey Deswan against Peter Wright. I think later on in the tournament we could see at least one challenger register a victory.
Going back to the Rob Cross Nathan Aspinall match, which of course Rob won 7-5. Josh, you had the opportunity to have a quick chat with Rob, didn't you?
Yeah, he was in positive spirits after the game. Admittedly, wasn't at his very best, but he's able to win without playing his A game, and that's ominous sign for the rest of the field. Rob, many congratulations. You've got 3 points now from possible 4, despite not playing your best. That must be very encouraging.
Yeah, definitely. I think you prove to yourself, that you can still win games with a B game, really. And that isn't disrespectful to anyone else. I'm just ticking over. It isn't like I'm doing great things out there at the minute, but I'll be honest with you, there will come a day where I will need them great things and I will need to deliver them. So, look, we're a work in progress and I'm sure it will come out.
You mentioned there you were the underdog tonight, but does it suit you going under the radar?
I quite like it.
Yeah.
I have to admit, I look at it and I think you feel a little bit disappointed in some ways, but then in another way, look, I had the best win of my life, being an underdog. Being saying, what you could never win and everyone telling you can't win, you can do anything in life. You just got to work hard enough. You've got to go out there and grab your chances and keep going. It doesn't matter, whether you play darts or whether you play anything in life or even normal life. I want to work every morning, 4:30 in the morning. I provided for my family and I've done that. And now I have to admit I'm grateful to the PDC because now they pay. All right, I have to earn it, but they pay me a good enough wage where I get to offer them a different life because it's above what I used to do. So I'm very grateful. I don't forget where I come from, and you've got to remember your roots and everything, and I'll get better.
No, of course. And just finally, you mentioned the weight loss over the last couple of months. I've lost over 2 stone in weight, but do you think more than physically, it's almost helping you more mentally as well?
I'll be honest with you, it's the weirdest probably situation I've ever been in, because now, if you would have asked me last year, I would have said I played the Premier League and I wouldn't have time to practice. I wouldn't have time to fully make myself ready. The weird thing is now, I've got loads of time to practice because I've got the energy to go out and do it, because I don't feel sort of frumpy in a way that I feel under pressure to sort of go and do it. I'm actually enjoying my life at the minute and I'm enjoying practicing. I'm probably doing 4 or 5 hours a day and I'll carry that on all the time the way I feel. Life's easier to structure and I have a great life, so to be honest with you, I can't wait to sort of get back, see the kids again and stuff. I had some time off at the start of the year and you enjoy their time and my little girl now, she's nearly 3 and she's changing every week. She's talking now, it's just amazing.
So that was Rob's thoughts on things. Josh, you also managed to speak to Michael Smith, didn't you?
I did, yeah. Michael was disappointed, admittedly, after relinquishing a 6-2 lead against Gerwen Price, but still came into the media room, was still in relatively good spirits. Looking ahead now to facing Johnny Clayton, he admitted he might need to have some earplugs ready for Cardiff. Michael, after 7 legs, you're averaging 120. Were you aware of how well you were playing, or are you just in that zone of just focusing on the match?
No, it's like I said in the last one before, I just wanted to keep going quiet. I did do it for the spell, and then the minute he went to 6-3 and 6-4, that's when it starts to get hard because he starts coming at you in. But I always knew going into 6-5, I had the darts. It's just that my darts thought it was funny not to put 2 in instead of 1. Yeah. Every time I put the first one in, they just went high and high. But it's one of the things, points to points. Either 2's nice, but 1's just as good.
And although often it's mixed emotions, although you didn't get the win, you can take a lot of positives from the performance more than anything.
I can until I get home, and then when my son calls me something that shouldn't be said on TV, especially from a 5-year-old, because he did it after the Masters when I missed the 3 darts against Peter. I got home and he called me something rotten, but it's one of you just got to get on with it now. Like I've got 7 weeks and I can't be bothered doing the maths how many days it is, but I've got a lot of time to get on the board and work out something else for the week after and the week after and the week after. As long as we've had the relegation, that's the main thing.
And you mentioned Cardiff next week. You got Johnny Clayton. You faced Gerwin Price in Wales last year, so you'll be aware of what the atmosphere is going to be like. Do you think that'll hold you in good stead for that one?
I don't know. I think they're going to be even louder because Gez is he's natural now for Wales, isn't it? I just think that it's going to be Johnny's first time in Cardiff. It's going to be even louder. So I think I may be asking Merv or Gary Anderson for some earplugs for that one.
Perfect. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
Smith reflecting there on his performance so far. Josh, you also managed to grab a quick chat with Gary Anderson, didn't you, after his 6-6 draw with Peter Wright?
Yeah, I did. Always great to chat to Gary. He's really good value. It's great to see him enjoying the game again. Darts needs Gary Anderson back to his best. He's showing signs of that now, and he's got the bit between his teeth. You can tell the hunger's there, and that's a positive sign going forward. Gary, obviously missing out on last year's competition with injury. I know you said you enjoyed the family time, but has it also got the hunger back?
No, I want another 60 weeks off. No, I'm just about enjoying that again.
Yeah.
You know, if you asked me that 2-3 months ago, no, don't want to see a dartboard.
Yeah.
I've never actually seen a dartboard. So it's no, yeah. I mean, we're getting back in the Premier League. I'm now, like I say, I'm playing. If I wasn't in the Premier League, I was going to be thrown at weekends.
Yeah.
If I turned up at them, you know. But now I've got to play, which is definitely good for me. It's good for the head as well. You know, you've got to be there. You're playing, so you might as well stick in and give it a go. So, yeah.
No, definitely. And you said in the lead up to the tournament, you said if I don't get my game back in 3 months, I'm in trouble. But within 3 weeks now, you're playing some great darts.
You know, it's settled a few points for me. You know, the game is there. There's, like I say, a few loose darts, but each week it's getting tighter and tighter. So, 3 months' time, we're in trouble. If I'm still here.
And how close to your best would you say you are at the moment? 50, 60?
99% off. But we're getting no, it's getting there. Honestly, every week's practice board, they're going great. Like I said, through the back tonight, I was on my throw with Glen. 180s, 140s for fun. You know, up on stage, you're just a wee bit not quite right, but no, it's getting there. We'll get there.
Okay, Josh, as I mentioned earlier, the highlight of the night for me was the Glen Durrant versus Fallon Sherrock game, and you managed to grab a quick chat with both of them, didn't you?
It's always great to chat to Glen. He's always very open and honest, gives great insight. He was disappointed. He couldn't hide his disappointment not being able to beat Fallon, but he really did praise her and the crowd on what was an incredible night of darts, and he's still in positive spirits, having picked up 3 points from a possible 4 so far. Glenn, you mentioned the crowd. You're full of praise for the crowd. Did you prepare for something different mentally before the game?
I genuinely thought I was going to throw for a dart, and the crowd were going to be so off-putting. The crowd were marvellous. The crowd were fantastic, and I genuinely heard support for me in there. And I knew there was going to be booing for me. Crowd were mega.
Is it one of the best atmospheres you've ever played in?
Yeah, I think the best atmosphere I've ever played in. And only when Fallon hit her doubles or a treble 20. I don't think the atmosphere is when I hit a double or things like that. I don't think I've ever heard a noise like it in darts when she went 6-4 up.
And also you mentioned the disappointment of not getting the result, but from 6-4 down, back-to-back 15 darts, 2 good finishes, that must please you the way you bounce back.
Not at the moment. Maybe when I wake up in the morning, I could do with seeing my wife right now and analysing maybe that game. But I wanted to go up there and go 3-0 up and run away with that match. It didn't happen. But right now, it's a little bit of disappointment.
Fallon, congratulations. And how did the atmosphere up there compare to Alexandria Palace tonight?
Oh, it was amazing. Obviously, there was like 8,000 people there. But yeah, it was just amazing. And I loved every minute of it. And it felt like I was back at the World Championships. And it was just incredible.
It was an amazing couple of weeks for you at Ali Pali. But since then, you've now qualified for the UK Open, got a point in the Premier League. Does that show that you're here to stay and you're not a one-hit wonder at all?
I'm hoping I can prove that to people now. Obviously, if I can keep increasing my game now, and if I can compete against these men week in, week out, I mean, who's to say that the sky's the limit? Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. And obviously, we've seen Lisa get a tour card at qualifying school last month. Now you, the World Championships in the Premier League. Do you think women's darts in the strongest place it's ever been?
Yeah, definitely. I think obviously the women's darts is as strong as what it's ever been. So hopefully now we get more opportunities to show how strong we can be.
Josh managing to have a chat with both players there. Fallon sounded quite buoyant, didn't she, after her 6-6 draw? Yeah,
I think before Alexandria Palace, she wasn't really used to all the media commitments, and there was such a massive media presence there. I think there was 4 different media rooms in the Motorpoint Arena because of the interest in Fallon Sherrock. We had journalists from L'Equipe in France, Bloomberg in Canada, such an international presence, but she just takes it all in her stride now. You can see she's really relishing the opportunities, and she's going to get more of those in the World Series later this year, so fair play to her. She's just enjoying the ride, and as she said, the sky's the limit for her.
Okay, and finally, Josh, you had a quick catch-up with Michael van Gerwen after his dominant performance over Daryl Gurney.
Indeed, I did. The world number one was in very jovial mood, as you'd expect after just winning 7-1. He's in confident mood. You can tell he was a man a little bit on edge before he played Peter Wright, as Neil mentioned, but I think that win's done wonders for him mentally. He loves the Premier League. He always performs to his best here. He's topped the league phase for the last 7 years, got to 7 finals in a row, won it 5 times, and who's to say he won't make it number 6 this year?
And Michael, congratulations. You mentioned people were questioning your form coming into the tournament, but you've got 105 tournament average.
What form?
You've got two wins out of 2, maximum points. You must really enjoy proving the doubters wrong.
I don't. People, I don't have to prove anything because I know what I'm capable of. But yeah, if they wanna let me answer a few questions, I will tell them the truth. And when I play my game, they don't have a chance. Simple.
Yeah. And in the Premier League, 7 years in a row, you've topped the league phase. You've reached the final for 7 years, won it 5 times. What is it about the Premier League that brings the best out of you?
In Premier League, it doesn't go about luck. In Premier League, it's about consistency, and I showed in the last few years that consistency really helps you. And yeah, the one who gets the top of the table is a phenomenal player. And did I really say that by myself? Did I? No, you need to believe yourself, and I always do. And yeah, we see what's going on.
And in both weeks now, your finishing's been really impressive. You had 4 ton-plus finishes last week, 60% on the doubles tonight. That must be really pleasing for you.
Yeah, of course. The doubles and the finish go really well. And of course, I'm quite impressed with that myself as well. But what I can say not enough times, I know I can do it. So I still need to make sure I improve on a few little points, but that's for myself to do in the next few weeks.
You were right, Josh. He was in very jovial mood there, wasn't he? Laughing and joking with yourself and all the reporters.
He was. Well, when I said to him that some people have been questioning his form, he said, "Who have been questioning my form?" But he knows that people have, but he just loves silencing the doubters, and he's done that already so far.
Okay, well, big thanks to Rob Cross, Michael Smith, Gary Anderson, Glen Durrant, Fallon, Sherrock and Michael van Gerwen for taking the time to have a chat with Josh after their games in Nottingham. Josh, you must really enjoy being in and around the players backstage, particularly after they've just come off stage. I bet there's a real buzz, isn't there?
Doesn't sound like they enjoy him being around too much.
Now.
Not everyone loves the...
Michael van Gerwen, anyway.
Not everyone loves the media commitments, do they? But it's a hoop that has to be jumped through. But yeah, Josh, you must enjoy that part of the role.
No, definitely. And the players, they're ever so good. I mean, the access you get is great from the PDC. Dave Allen, the head of the PDC media, does a wonderful job. Great access. And the players are always really honest and open. Sometimes you see in the football media, sometimes you get the cliched response. They don't really give you a lot, whereas the darts players are far more open and honest. And it makes for interesting listening.
Okay, that is our Premier League roundup.
You're listening to Josh's Dartistry. Don't forget, you can check us out on Facebook by going to the Josh's Dartistry page. You can follow us on Twitter @Josh's Dartistry or go to the website www.joshisdartistry.com for the latest news and insight to the world of darts. You can also leave us a comment or a question via our voicemail box. Just call 07739 738 329. Leave us a message and we may play it on air. Now back to the show.
This is Paul Nicholson, and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry.
Right, welcome back. It's now time to get some odds.
Cool, what are the odds?
Would you please allow me to hand you over to a resident odds checker, Mr. Neil Connor?
Thank you, John. So looking forward to this Thursday's Premier League action in Cardiff. We'll look at the first game, Peter Wright v Rob Cross. How are you calling that one, Josh?
Well, I've backed Cross to lose the last 2 weeks and he's unbeaten. So I think if I do back him to get a result, he'll probably lose. I'd have to make Peter Wright slight favourite, but I think he'll go the distance. Okay,
so the draw is 3-1. Peter Wright 11-10 on, and Rob Cross 2-1. So
I like the draw there.
Yeah, I do as well. There's good value in all the draws. Okay, next one, John. Johnny Clayton v Michael Smith. Where's your money?
Purely based on previous history of the challengers / contenders, I don't see Clayton getting the win. I see Smith having the edge in this, mainly because of the experience that Smith's got in the Premier League. I see a resounding Smith win as something like 7-3, 7-4 personally.
Okay, so you call it the same as the bookies. These are Sky Bet odds, by the way, 11-8 on. Johnny Clayton, who I will be backing, is 5-2, and a draw again, good value at 7-2. The third game of the night, Michael van Gerwen versus Nathan Aspinall. I'll be going for a draw in that at 4-1.
Big shout, Neil. Big shout.
Michael van Gerwen 11-4 on to win, and Nathan 5-1. Big outsider to win that game, but I will be back in the draw.
Josh, do you realistically give Aspinall a chance?
I'll give him a chance. I mean, he averaged 117 the other week on the Pro Tour. He's got the game, but I don't think you've beaten Michael van Gerwen on TV. Michael beat him at the recent World Championships. I think Michael wins that 7-4.
Okay, moving on. Two players that need a win, Daryl Gurney and Gerwin Price. Gerwin, odds-on favourite, 11-8.
In his hometown?
In his hometown. 3-1 the draw and 11-4 for Daryl to pick up his first point of this year's Premier League. Final game, big one it is. Glen Durrant versus Gary Anderson. Durrant 15-8 to win. Anderson even money with the draw at 3-1.
I like the draw there.
Yeah, again, I think the draw at 3-1 offers decent value.
You got any tournament odds for the Premier League?
So tournament odds, Michael van Gerwen, obviously favourite. Slight odds on, as we see with most tournaments. 11-10 on. World champion Peter Wright 5-1. Gerwin Price third in the list of odds at 7-1. And Gary Anderson at 8-1. That might be worth a punt. Cross 12, Aspinall 16, Durrant 25s, Smith's 25s, and Gurney the outsider at 66.
Odds on elimination on come Judgment Night, Neil. Have you got those to hand?
Yes. So to finish bottom after week 9, Daryl Gurney 5-4 favourite to finish bottom. Michael Smith 4-1. Glen Durrant third 5-1. Nathan Aspinall 11-2. And then odds from 10-1 for Rob Cross to Michael van Gerwen at 1,000-1 to finish bottom after 9 weeks.
Josh, we've had a couple of 9 darters recently, haven't we? In probably away from the television cameras. There was 1 or 2 in the Pro Tour the other day, wasn't there?
Yeah, there's been 7 in 4 Players Championship events, so it's an incredible standard. But we haven't seen many on TV recently. I think we saw Michael van Gerwen at the Players Championships in November. Before that, it was the Grand Slam in 2018. So it's been quite a while before. I think in the Premier League, we haven't had one for about 3 or 4 years.
Neil, have you got any odds for this coming Thursday in Cardiff, the chance of a 9 darter?
Yes, so the odds on a 9 darter, what do you think?
33-1?
No, I'm going slightly less than that. I will go 18-1.
10-1.
10-1?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be having a bet on that.
No, nor me. What I wouldn't
there will be one.
Glad I brought it up.
Another request a bet from Sky Bet. All 10 players to hit a 100 plus checkout. 200-1. So if you fancy a long shot, that's one that you could possibly look at.
It'd be interesting to know the history on that. I mean, it'd take
I'm not sure that's ever happened.
But, yeah.
That's why it's 200-1,
yeah.
Josh.
Okay, Neil, anything else for us?
Yeah, just one thing I wanted to touch on in terms of the World Championships, and Josh brought this to my attention last week. Gary Anderson was 20-1 at one point to win the next PDC World Championship. So I've noticed now that his odds have been slashed to 12-1. So quite a lot of movement, but still some value at 12 for Gary to be world champion.
Okay, a lot to happen and take place before we obviously get back to the world, so we'll keep our eyes on that. They're all your odds. Here on the Josh's Dartistry podcast, we always remind you to please gamble responsibly, and when the fun stops, stop.
Cool, what are the odds?
Hi, this is Diogo Porcella, and you're listening to Josh Dartistry.
Okay, gents, before we move away from discussing the Premier League, there's one thing that we just need to have a quick chat about, and it gives me the opportunity to play this jingle that we haven't played for a year.
I want to be the last man standing, but there can only be one.
Yeah, that's right. It's our famous Josh's Dartistry podcast, Last Man Standing competition. Now, Josh, you launched this, didn't you, via your Twitter account a couple of weeks ago and let people know. But I think because this is the first main show we've done since the launch of both the Premier League this year and the competition, do you just want to talk us through it? Let us know how it works for anyone who's not yet seen it. I know we're halfway through it now, but people can still re-enter because in our experience, it resets itself after a while and we get 2 or 3 winners, don't we, throughout the Premier League season. So just give us a rundown, Josh, of how Last Man Standing works.
Okay, well, like I said, John, I advertised at my Twitter account a couple of weeks ago. It's very simple. It's called Last Man Standing. You have to pick a player who you think is going to win. They've got to win. If they draw or lose, they're out. You cannot pick the same player in consecutive weeks, or, well, at all. You've got to make sure you pick every player at one stage. The last person standing wins the competition, and you cannot pick anyone involved in the Challengers match, whether that be the challenger or the main Premier League player. So we've had 107 entrants.
Wow, it's good.
84 people have gone out.
Including all 3 of us.
Well, me and Neil went out the first week. We both had Gerwin Price to beat Rob Cross because that seemed like the obvious bet at the time. We had a lot of people also go out with Gerwin Price.
So hang on, I went the furthest because I went into week 2, didn't I?
It's not much of an achievement, though, John.
And give me something.
And Gerwin Price also accounted for a lot of people in week 2 because then a lot of people backed him to beat Marcus Smith and he didn't. So we've had 84 people go out. 23 people are still in. For those who follow me on Twitter, I have sent out the details for week 3 and put the fixtures up there. Hopefully enter using the hashtag JDPLMS to make sure we can follow it easy. And as you mentioned there, John, when the tournament finishes or the Last Man Standing finishes, because it will do, I'm sure, over the next couple of weeks, we'll be relaunching that.
Yeah.
So all those who missed out or entered before can re-enter, and all the details will be on my Twitter account.
Excellent stuff. And Neil, if we when we get it down to our last man or woman standing, what can they win, Neil?
They will win a Josh's Dartistry mug.
Wonderful stuff, wonderful stuff. They're very highly sought after, the JDP mugs. So, we'll. Although Jordan's complaining that he still hasn't received his one, I think.
I've got Jordan's one at home.
He's still in this one. He might win another one.
You don't even have to post it. He lives around the corner. You see him fairly regularly.
Well, I hope he does win this one because then I get one free. Then.
Okay, so good luck to all those entering the JDP Last Man Standing competition. Check it out on Twitter. Get your entries in, as Josh said, using the hashtag JDPLMS. If you can use that hashtag, that would be great because it really helps Josh to find all the answers rather than have to go searching for them. And good luck in Last Man Standing.
I wanna be the last man standing, but there can only be one.
Hi, this is Rod Stud from Sky Sports, and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry podcast.
Okay, Josh, before we move away from discussing action on the board, just give us a quick Pro Tour update, mate, because we've had 4 Players' Championships events so far, haven't we?
Yep, the first 2 took place at the Barnsley Metrodome just over a week ago now. It's been an amazing standard, John, and with the Darts Connect system we have now, there's no hiding place for the players. If they're out of form, we can see. If they're playing brilliant darts, we can see. And some of the averages have been absolutely incredible. We've had 7 9-darters in 4 events. The overall record on the whole PDC circuit last year was 47 9-darters. We could see that broken already because we've seen another one on the European Tour as well.
Just for the uninitiated, Josh, just explain Dart Connect. Just to tell us what that is.
Well, it's a system that was launched a couple of years ago now, and you can go on to the system and follow every single match on the Pro Tour, visit by visit. So you can't actually watch the action live, but you're following the scores.
Yeah.
And they've got all the information in terms of the averages, check out percentage, what they've been, the breakdown of each visit, and you can actually follow a certain player. So if you wanted to follow, I don't know, Lisa Ashton, for example, you could get notification on your phone and see all of Lisa's matches. Same with Michael van Gerwen, whoever you want. So
for somebody who is heavily involved in stats, loves a good stat, someone like the man on my left, Neil Connor, it's a very useful tool, isn't it?
It's definitely, it's great for journalists or reporters because you can actually get a better indication of how they're playing. Sometimes players will say, I was brilliant today, I just got unlucky. Back in the day, we might have believed them, they might have been poor. Whereas now, like I said, there's no hiding place.
I have been on Darts Connect and it is very, very good.
Yeah, I can imagine you've poured over that, Neil. You love a stat, don't you?
I have. I've memorised many of the results and the averages on there, and it is wonderful.
Excellent.
They stream the Pro Tour events, though, don't they, on the PDC website?
Yeah, there are 2 streaming boards you can watch, but a lot of the games aren't live.
Okay, Josh, give us a quick roundup, buddy.
Okay, so the first Players' Champion event in Barnsley saw Gary Anderson return to the winner's circle, picking up his first title since September 2018. Great to see Gary back playing well, averaged over 101 for the entire day. Beat Jeff Smith in the final, 8-4. Now, Jeff, the former BDO World Championship finalist, great Canadian player, appearing in his first Players' Championship event since 2013, having won his tour card back in January, so that was great for him. Then we saw an all-Premier League clash on the second day. Nathan Aspinall beating Gerwin Price 8-3 in the final. Aspinall was in the form of his life, really, throughout the day. Averaged 117.5 against Peter Wright, hitting a 9-darter in the process. Threw some ridiculous darts and averaged over 100 again to beat Gerwin Price in that final. The third Players' Championship event in Wigan that took place on Saturday was a bit of a shock, really. Saw Ryan Searle win his first PDC title. We've seen Searle play well at the Worlds over the last couple of years, but he beat some incredible names to win the title. Beat Gerwin Price, Michael Smith, Glen Durrant, Jeffrey Deswan, and then topped it off by beating Michael van Gerwen 8-6 in the final. So massive congratulations to Ryan. And then on Sunday, the fourth Players' Championship event in Wigan, we saw Krzysztof Ratajski win his 7th PDC title, beating Ian White 8-7 in the final. Krzysztof averaging over 100 for much of the day as well.
Ian proving once again, Josh, what a great floor player he is by getting to the final.
Yeah, one of the very best, so consistent. I think in the last few years he's always been in the top 8 of the Players' Championship Order of Merit, and I don't see that changing again this year. So consistent. If you can translate that to the big stage this year, who knows what he'll achieve. Good
win for Ryan Searle there in beating Michael van Gerwen 8-6 in Players' Championship 3. Ryan Searle's a player that intrigues me, Neil. We've seen him last couple of years now perform really well in the World Championships, and I'd love to see his career kick on and him to climb the rankings.
Yeah, I think the talent's obviously there. Victories like this one, particularly taking out Michael van Gerwen on the way, is only going to help him. But the raw talent is there, and as you say, he has performed well at Ali Pali as well.
My mum won't forgive me for saying this, Josh, but when Ryan Searle was playing on the Worlds last year, she commented to me and my wife that she thought he was quite a good-looking young man. She quite took a liking to Ryan Searle and those lovely long locks that he's got. What do you make of that?
Well, I'm not too sure, really, John. Whatever floats your boat, I suppose.
I hope my mum's not listening. I'm more to the point, I hope my dad's not listening. So yeah, that's your Pro Tour update. And Josh, when's the next Pro Tour event?
Yep, the Pro Tours keep coming thick and fast, John. The Players' Championship 5 and 6 take place in Wigan this weekend, February the 22nd and 23rd.
Excellent. We look forward to that, and keep your eye on Darts Connect for all your latest stats.
Hi, it's Adrian Lewis, and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry podcast.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. It's now time for this.
Challenge Josh.
Yes, that's right, JDP fans. It is time for the very latest instalment of Challenge Josh, the part of the show where Neil takes great pleasure in trying to make Josh look silly. So let's hand you over to resident quizmaster, Mr. Neil Connor.
Thank you, John. I think last month we focused on Peter Wright as the king of the palace. Today we're going to focus on two ladies who are at the forefront of darts at the moment. So we're going to throw 8 questions out there on Fallon Sherrock, and we're going to have the last 7 questions on Lisa Ashton.
Fallon Sherrock and Lisa Ashton. Josh, how you feeling?
A bit sceptical, I must admit.
Okay then, Neil, do you have your questions at the ready?
I do, and he is wincing, which is rather enjoyable.
Okay, on that basis, let's please have question number 1.
Question 1. How old is Fallon Sherrock?
25.
Straight in. I suppose you've been doing a lot of media recently, Josh, and that's probably, most press reports start with, don't they? Fallon Sherrock, 25.
Yeah.
So
I
suppose that's been
bit
at the
variety
forefront.
in the report, yeah.
Do you know the date of birth?
Oh, that's tough.
She's July the 1st.
Wow.
How on earth do you know that? I mean, 25, yeah, but the birthday, that's almost bordering on stalking.
It's on her Twitter profile.
He knows his stuff, Neil.
Yeah.
He knows his stuff.
I'm looking after him with these questions. I don't think they're too bad, to be honest.
I wouldn't have got that. Okay, let's have question number 2.
Where was Fallon born?
Will you accept in the hospital?
No.
I know where she resides from now, but I'm not sure about where she was born.
Yeah. I think she lives in Milton Keynes.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say in terms of where she's from now.
Yeah.
It's a designated hometown when John McDonnell announces her onto the stage.
I think she's from Milton Keynes, yeah. Well,
is that your answer?
No, I asked where was she born, Josh?
Born. Buckinghamshire?
That is correct.
It's fairly vague, but yes, she was born in Milton Keynes in Buckinghamshire.
Well done, well done. 2 out of 2. Let's see how we get on with question number 3.
What is Fallon's walk-on song?
Last Friday Night by Katy Perry.
Yep, Last Friday Night by Katy Perry. Josh, are you a Katy Perry fan?
I'm a massive fan, John.
You said that with real conviction then. You've been to any of her concerts?
Not yet.
She used to be married to Russell Brand, didn't she? Katy Perry, I believe.
I saw him in series I was watching, Ballers, the one with The Rock.
I thought you were going to tell me you saw him when you popped down the co-op for a pint of milk. I thought it was going to be an interesting story then.
He was in Ballers.
Okay, that was completely irrelevant. Question number 4, please, Neil.
How many BDO majors has Fallon won? And what were they?
2. She's won the Finder Masters, or the Zoidodoin, and the World Trophy.
Do you know what years they were?
The World Trophy was 2018. The Finder was either 2014 or 2015. 2015?
Yeah, extensive knowledge there. Well done, Josh.
He's breezing through this.
He's breezing through this.
Disappointing.
So, Josh, that is what, 4 out of 4?
Yeah.
Okay, well done. Let's move on, Neil, to question number 5.
Fallon recently qualified for the UK Open. Where was the qualifier? Who did she beat in the final? And what was the score?
Wolverhampton. Stuart White. And she beat him 5-1.
Very, very good, Josh. Very, very good. I'm impressed.
Very good. This is not going to plan.
I know. If I know you, Neil, you've got a few rockets up your sleeve, a couple of grenades to throw into the room before you shut the door. So that's 5 out of 5. Let's have, please, question number 6.
Question number 6. When Fallon represented England youth at the WDF Europe Cup Youth in 2011, who was her partner?
So now this is what I'm talking about, grenades. So that was 9 years ago.
Let me repeat the question. So when Fallon represented England youth at the WDF Europe Youth Cup in 2011, who was her partner?
Not a clue.
So that was 9 years ago, so she would have been 15?
16.
16. She would have been 16, eh?
But
So
a lot of the contemporaries are of an older demographic,
well,
if you
there's
like.
a few younger. There are a few younger girls on the circuit.
Yeah, but they're
not Bo Greaves, obviously, because
no,
she would have been
the likes of Casey Gallagher from Scotland. Eileen de Graaf is Dutch. There's a Zoe Jones. I've got a feeling she might be Welsh. I'm not too sure. I'm going to guess. It's a stab in the dark. Her sister used to play.
Right.
I don't know.
Do you know her name?
Felicia.
Is that your answer, Felicia Sherrock?
Well, I've got no other answer. Yeah.
Absolutely incredible.
Unbelievable.
Well, I reckon that was one of your aces, wasn't it?
It
Neil?
was, yeah. So
and he
it's
smashed
not
it.
only her sister Felicia, it's her twin sister.
Are they identical twins?
I think similar. Well,
don't know.
I have to check.
But this is what I like about these things, because I learn a lot about the darts players by doing this research. But I didn't expect you to get that, so well done.
No, Josh, that is seriously impressive, mate. Well done. So he's a full house at the moment, Neil. 6 out of 6.
Yep.
Let's have question number 7.
What was Fallon's occupation before she became a professional darts player?
a hairdresser.
He knows more about Fallon than he lets on.
He does.
Very, very good. So 7 out of 7. Is this the last Fallon question?
This is the last Fallon question. Good
Okay.
one, this one, and I think you'll get it.
Here we go.
At a recent exhibition in Germany, which professional football player did Fallon pair with?
Luca Toni.
Yeah, Luca Toni. Neil, tell us what you know about Luca Toni. You're the football expert.
World Cup winner, 2006.
For
Italy.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Position. What position did he play?
Centre forward. I wasn't a big fan.
Who did he play for in his club career?
Juventus, I think.
Luca Toni. Was he any good on the... Did you watch that, Josh? Did you catch any?
He wasn't much cop. No, I watched it. No, I thought he'd be better than he was, to be fair. But I did watch it. Yeah, it's always good fun. I can't remember who won it now. I think Michael van Gerwen and his partner won it. I can't remember who he
I did
partnered
see some
with.
clips online of that. It was it looked like a lot of fun. But yeah, Luca Toni, correct answer. So that is 8 out of 8. Now, he's absolutely smashed the Fallon Sherrock questions. Obviously, he's got 7 Lisa Ashton questions to come. Do you think he's going to do as well with the Lisa Ashton questions?
I think there's one that he may struggle with.
Of course there is. Of course there is. We can't let him get 15 out of 15. Okay, let's turn our attention then to Lisa Ashton, and let's have question number 9.
Who did Lisa lose to in the first round of the 2019 PDC World Championship?
Jan Dekker.
And the score?
3-1.
Well done.
Okay, so that is 9 out of 9. First Lisa Ashton hurdle successfully negotiated. Let's have question number 10.
What position did Ashton finish in at Q School to secure her tour card for the 2020 season?
On the Order of Merit, you mean?
A nod doesn't really help on a
Q
podcast.
School. What position did she finish in?
Oh, 12th position.
That is correct. Yeah, it was a bit nervy at the end, Josh, wasn't it, for Lisa? But she snuck in right at the death, didn't she?
Yeah, she got to the final of the second event, and then she got a successive second round exit. She looked like she was going to miss out, but I think a few results went in her favour, and she got nicked the last spot.
10 out of 10 with just 5 questions remaining. Let's see if you can keep a clean sheet, Josh. Here we go with question number 11.
And this is why I was getting a bit anxious earlier, but fortunately you picked the wrong one. What is Lisa's nickname?
The Lancashire Rose.
Yeah, of course it is, the Lancashire Rose. Yeah, she's got a nickname. Obviously, she's had that for quite a while. And we'll have to see what happens with Fallon's. Okay, that is question number 11 out of the way. All successfully answered. Neil, let's have question number 12.
Who did Lisa beat to secure her second BDI World Championship?
I'm assuming you just want in the final. You don't want all the players she beat en route to the final.
Just the runner-up.
There is some scribbling taking place. As is custom when Josh is struggling, let's stop.
I think it was... Fallon Sherrock.
That is correct.
Yep.
Fallon Sherrock.
She beat Fallon Sherrock 3-1. It's always difficult when you ask for what position or what one they won in terms of number to work it out. So another potential banana skin overcome.
Okay, let's have question number 13.
In 2019, Lisa competed in the Grand Slam of Darts, exiting at the group stage. Who was in Lisa's group?
Rob Cross, Dave Chisnell, Jamie Hughes.
Yeah, absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Good knowledge again, Josh. Well done. Well remembered, Neil. He's got you up against the fence at the moment with his hands around your throat.
And he was worried about this. 13 out of 13.
2 questions to go. Yeah. Definitely going to be a grenade in here somewhere. I can feel it.
He's still looking snug.
I think the grenade has been thrown.
Oh, really?
And he's caught it and thrown it back.
Oh, my word. Okay, let's see what happens. He's on for a clean sweep. Let's have question number 14.
Prior to the appearances of Lisa and Anastasia Dobromyslova at the PDC World Championship in 2019, who were the only 2 women to have featured before at the tournament? Would you like me to repeat the question?
The 2 people to feature before Anastasia and Lisa. Gail King was the first.
Was she?
When the first woman to feature in the PDC World
Neil,
Championship.
just for my benefit, can you reread the question, please?
So, as you know, John, in 2019 PDC World Championship, Lisa Ashton and Anastasia Dobromyslova appeared at the World Championship. Who were the 2 women to have featured before at the tournament? So prior to 2019, 2 women had featured in the tournament? Who are they?
I think it's a trick question.
I don't think it's a trick question. I just think it's.
Well, Gail King was the first.
What, you think it's what?
And then,
what, do you want me to give my answer?
No. You were going to have a little dig there, I think.
I wasn't going to have a dig at anything. I think I know what the answer is. That's all I'm saying.
Gail King.
You knew Gail King, did you?
I didn't.
No.
Hang on. No, I did, because I remember reading about it, and I would have been able to pluck that from my mind, and I think I know who the other one is as well.
It was Gail King and Anastasia Dobromislova.
Absolutely. That's the answer I would have given. And that is, of course, correct.
So it was Gail King in 2001 and Anastasia in 2009. Not really a trick question. You just have to listen to the question.
Josh, can you remember who they both played?
God, I can remember Anastasia played Remco van Eyden, Dutchman. Gail King, it's before my time, so I'm not too sure. I think she got a set, whoever she played, she got a set off him.
What year was that?
2001.
So you can't remember anything about 2001?
Well, not much, no.
FA Cup final?
Thank you, Neil.
I want
Which you brought up the other day, so you can remember things about.
I want to know who Gail played, and we're going to Google it. I want to know. I think I'm going to go.
I know Arsenal played in the cup final.
I'm going to go for Vincent van der Voort. Josh, who are you going to pick?
No, I think it was an English player. It wasn't Vincent van der Voort. He was still in the BDO.
I'm going to go Barry Bates.
Barry Bates.
No, it wasn't. It was an old. He's not a current player.
Gail King. PDC. Darts career. Okay. Gail King in 2001 lost in the first round. She lost 3-1 to Graham Stoddart.
That's it.
Graham Stoddart. Not a name that resonates with me. You ever heard of Graham before, Josh?
Yeah, no, I think he's a good player, but like I say, he's not a current player, and he's not some. I remember it now. You said it, but I wouldn't have got it prompted.
Okay, so question number 14 is correct. Neil, he's almost home and hosed.
I'm out of grenades.
There's one question left. Question 15. Well, I mean, when was the last time he had a clean sweep?
It's a long time.
It has happened before, hasn't it?
I think it's happened once, maybe.
Yeah, it has happened once before. If he gets this one, Neil, you're in Klopp's dungeon, I think.
I am. I will be disciplining myself in Klopp's dungeon.
All right, that's too much information.
now, family show.
Okay, let's have the last question. Here we go with number 15.
In 2008, Lisa Ashton won the British pentathlon. What is the format of that event?
And you said you didn't have any grenades left.
I love this question. Again, I learned something.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I've never heard of it.
I've heard of it, but I don't have a clue the format.
I'll give you. So it's 20 players that take part in the British pentathlon. So think about the format. You've got double in, double out in Dublin for the
World Grand Prix.
World Grand Prix. So something a bit special about the format.
I'm just going to recline and drink my coffee while Josh has to think about this. But your clean sweep is at stake here, Josh.
No, I think it could be over, but I'll still take 14. Not a clue.
Pentathlon.
This is a great question.
How many sports in a pentathlon?
I think it's 5 now, isn't it?
5.
The modern day pentathlon.
Could it be something to do with 5s? Could it be like groups of 5?
Are you trying to help him?
Well, no, but I'm just thinking out loud.
Because I don't think you are.
I'm just trying to create content. Dead air in a podcast doesn't work.
I'm not too sure. I'm going to guess it's something like 1,000. The legs of 1,001 or something. I don't know.
That is incorrect, Neil.
So the competition consists of 20 players.
Mm-hmm.
Each player plays each other for 2 legs of 501 straight. They play one game of 1,001 and 2,001. They have games of 501, 1,001, 2,001 to finish on a double or ball.
Ridiculous.
Shanghai numbers 1 to 9. Half it numbers. Round the board on doubles, starting at 1, 2, 3, and so on. And there are 24 games in total. The winner is the competitor with the most accumulated points.
I bet if you asked Lisa Ashton that question, I bet she wouldn't be able to answer that.
No.
She wouldn't, without having it written down in front of her, she wouldn't be able to fully answer that.
It was Neil's insurance policy to just ensure whatever happened, I couldn't get the 15.
The scoring is a bit more complex, but I'm not going to take you into that now.
No, please don't. I mean, I want to be in bed by midnight.
But have you heard of a pentathlon of darts?
Not in darts, no.
Great
that's
question.
News to me. That's news to me. Never heard of it.
I've heard of it, but again, I didn't have a clue what it consisted of. But
Lisa won that in 2008.
Excellent stuff.
Where does that take place? In this country?
Yeah, I think it's the British pentathlon.
Oh well, he stitched you up well and truly there, Josh.
Indeed. That was good fun, though. I enjoyed that one.
14 out of 15. I think that represents a very healthy return. I think question 15 was a little unfair, but well done. No, that was tough, Neil. That was up there with Raymond van Barnevel's shoe size or height.
I think that was worse, actually.
But no, I think that represents a very good return, Josh. Well done, and I think you can give yourself a pat on the back. I was seriously impressed with some of those answers.
Thank you, John.
And that concludes this instalment of Challenge Josh.
Challenge Josh.
You're listening to the Josh's Dartistry podcast. Don't forget you can check us out on Facebook, the Josh's Dartistry page. You can also follow us on Twitter at Josh's Dartistry. And you can also go to our website, www.joshisdartistry.com, for all the latest news, blogs and information on the world of darts. Don't forget you can also call us and leave us a message on our voicemail box. That's 07739 738 329. That's 07739 738 329. Call our voicemail box, leave us a message, leave us a question, and we may play it on the show. Now back to the show.
This is Nathan Aspinall, and you're listening to Josh's Dartistry.
Right then, it's time to get some news.
News.
Okay, Josh, I know you've pulled out 2 or 3 news stories that have been doing the rounds over the last few days. What you got for us, mate?
Well, first up, John, on Thursday, the lineup was announced for the 2020 US Masters, heading to the Big Apple in New York for the first time. Very exciting news for the PDC.
Madison Square Garden.
Indeed, yeah, should be a terrific event over there in America. We knew some of the lineup. We knew Fallon Sherrock was going to get an invite to all 6 World Series events in 2020, so she is indeed going to be there. As is Michael van Gerwen, the world number 1, world champion Peter Wright, and defending champion Nathan Aspinall, who beat Michael Smith in last year's final. But Michael Smith is the big name absentee, really. World number 5 has not been included. We've got Rob Cross, Gerwin Price, Daryl Gurney, and Gary Anderson. So they're the 8 players. So Michael Smith, the only player in the world's top 8 who's not included, obviously at the expense of Fallon Sherrock.
Do you know, Neil, I'm really looking forward to that event in New York. Because the quality of the players is great and it will be a great competition. But Neil, I'm also looking forward to seeing the audience in New York and seeing how they react to the darts and the players. Obviously, America's produced some good players over the years, but we don't often get the chance to see an American crowd on TV, Neil.
No, I think we've seen the Las Vegas
Desert Classic, yeah, a few years ago.
The Desert Classic. So yeah, it will be interesting. I've actually been to Madison Square Garden. I'm also intrigued to see what the setup's going to be like. I can't imagine it's going to be in the middle of the main arena. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that'll be broadcast on ITV4, I would imagine.
It'll probably be delayed coverage. They've also there'll be 8 North American qualifiers. So we saw Darren Young at the World Championship. We saw Danny Baggish, Matt Campbell. I don't think John Part will be in it, but you never know. So there'll be Jeff Smith could be in it. He's had a good start to the Pro Tour. So there'll be a decent North American representation there as well.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Josh, what else you got?
We've also got a bit of BDO news. Last weekend we had the BDO Scottish Open, one of the best events on the calendar. The men's tournament was won by Jim Williams. Of course, runner-up at the recent BDO World Championship. He lost out to Wayne Warren on that occasion. But he picked up the title with a series of great performances over the weekend. 2 or 3 ton-plus averages. Beat Steve Hine, the Muffin Man, in the final. Remember Steve Hine, former PDC tour guide holder?
The Muffin Man, I love that.
But Steve also played well. Beat Martin Adams in the semi-finals. Great to see Wolfie back playing some good stuff. But he lost out to Steve Hine in the semis. But Jim Williams won 6-2 in the final with a 99.7 average. So really impressive from the Welshman. And the women's tournament saw Bo Greaves, 16 years old, what a player she is. She beat Fallon Sherrock, the woman of the moment, 5-2 in the final. Now, Bo has won 7 of her last 10 events she's entered in. Got to the semis on her World Championship debut this year. What an incredible player she is.
Yeah, she's really one to look out for. There's been a lot of chat about her, but she's also now starting to back it up with her performances, isn't she, Josh?
Yeah, she was at PDC Q School. She had a couple of really tough draws. I think she had Damien Hetto, who won the World Series in Australia. She had him in the first 2 days in the first round. Then I think she had Mark Durbridge, so she didn't have it easy at Q School, but she's a great player. So mature for her age, and she's got an amazing future ahead of her.
Neil, did you catch much of Bo Greaves in the BDO Worlds? Did you see her performances?
Yeah, I did. I think she's a star in the making. I don't think there's anything more to be said. I think obviously unfazed. There's no fear, and I think we'll see Bo kick on and achieve what the likes of Fallon and Lisa Ashton has, and maybe surpass that.
Yeah, Josh. Before we move on from talking about the BDO, you've got some more BDO news, haven't you, regarding the prize money from the Worlds?
We have, and it's a bit of a sorry episode, really. I mean, news came out earlier in the week that the 28-day deadline for players to be paid had passed, and there was a lot of uncertainty. Would the players be paid on time? Would they be paid at all? And there was uncertainty growing by the fact that the 28-day deadline had passed, but thankfully the players have been paid. There were rumours on a few darts forums that the prize fund would be increased a little bit. That didn't come to fruition. The players are paid what was set out, and
not what was originally set out, but
no, but the
revised. Yeah.
So Wayne, we're on 23,000 for his World Championship win, which is the lowest figure for a men's winner since 1989, I think. So really disappointing, but at least they've been paid. We can't pass this off as a success for the BDO because of the massive decline in prize money and the fact it was late, but. There were concerns whether they'd be paid at all, so at least they have been paid for their efforts.
Not good though, Neil, is it? Such a delay on the payout of the prize money.
No, I think it was bad enough that they reduced it like they did, and as a result, they lost Fallon Sherrock for the tournament. But for them then to have the sort of second kick in the teeth that the payment was delayed, and the uncertainty as to whether they were going to get it is not on, because people will be relying on that money, and it's just not fair.
Josh, of all the negativity surrounding the BDO Worlds, people talking about, the prize money being reduced, being paid late. Not everyone was happy with the change of venue, although I did hear some positive reports about it as well. Where does this leave the BDO Worlds in 12 months' time?
Who knows, really? I mean, the WDF have kind of cut ties with the BDO. They don't want to be associated with them. But Des Jacklin has consistently come out and said the future is brighter than it was 12 months ago for the BDO. He said, I think last week in London, they had a series of meetings with potential commercial partners, broadcasters, sponsors. So hopefully we'll see or hear some news over the coming weeks about the talks, and hopefully there's progress made, because we want to see the BDO still function. It's a massive fundamental part of grassroots darts. But the WDF have also pledged to have 2 tournaments this year, the World Masters and the World Championship. So again, there's quite a lot of uncertainty surrounding both organisations, but hopefully we get some clarity in the next few weeks.
When do you think we'll find out about the venue for the BDO Worlds for 2021?
I think it's still at the Indigo. I believe they've signed a contract, so I would expect them to still be at the Indigo.
Interesting.
Okay, Josh, have you got any more news items for us?
No, that is all for this episode, John.
News. Okay, before we bring episode 21 to a conclusion, there is just time to answer some of your questions that have been coming in via social media. This is Josh's Twitter chatter. Okay, Josh, I believe we've got a couple of questions for this evening's show. Do you want to kick us off, mate? What you had come in?
We've got a couple on Facebook and a couple on Twitter, John. So I'll start off with the Facebook first. We've got Nick Buttimer. Should the BDO seriously consider going amateur? They can't afford to be a professional and unable to pay professional winners' purses.
Well, they don't really pay professional winners' purses, and they've never paid anything like the PDC play. And, for me, the distinction has always been there between the BDO and the PDC. The PDC is the professional darts corporation, and the BDO is the amateur game.
I think what Nick's referring to, the BDO still refers to the World Championship as the World Professional Championships, which I think Barry Hearn has taken issue with in the past, saying the PDC are the professional organisation, the BDO are not. So maybe just some clarity in terms of the naming. Maybe they should rename just the BDO World Championships rather than professional, because if we're being brutally honest, it was anything but professional, wasn't it, this year?
Neil, there's probably a little bit of swallowing of pride that would have to take place before the BDO did that, wouldn't there?
Yeah, I would imagine, because that's something that's steeped deep in their history. So my take on it is the same as you, John. The PDC is the professional corporation and the BDO is the amateur. But as you say, I think there's probably a lot of history, and it would take a lot of negotiation to get that changed. There's
no shame in being the amateur game, you know, as long as everybody knows before these tournaments take place or before people sign up to play darts in the BDOs, as long as everybody knows it's the amateur organisation, these are the tournaments that are going to be on, this is the prize money that's going to be available, these are the rules, this is when you've got to sign up for, and this is how the format is, and as long as it's all out on the table and everyone knows the deal before they play, there's no shame in it at all, is there, Josh?
No, you just need some clarity. As Neil mentioned, you know, you got players going over to the tournament from Australia and all over the world for the BDO World Championship, not knowing what they're playing for, which is just not right at all. The BDO is still got a massive part to play, in my opinion, in terms of the grassroots game. Look at the PDC players now. The vast majority of the top 16 started in the BDO system, so there's still certainly a place for it.
Josh, let me grab a question from Twitter that I've just seen. Matthew Holmes on Twitter. He's asked, how many 9 darters are we going to see this year? It's already getting silly how common they've been. Now, Matt is obviously referring there to the 7 9 darters that we've seen so far on the Pro Tour. It's a good standard, isn't it? It's 7 so far.
Oh, it's brilliant. We also saw 1 in the European Tour qualifier, Steve Westett won, so that's 8 in total. It was 47 last year, which I think beat the previous total of 29. We're on course to beat it without question. It's almost commonplace now, though. I think I was chatting to Glen Durrant after his win in Nottingham, and he said Nathan Aspinall hit 2 9 darters warming up in the practice room. Marcus Smith hit 1. So they're doing it so regularly on the Pro Tour. I'd like to see a few more TV 9 darters, though. We haven't seen that many, which is alarming when you consider, not alarming, just surprising when you consider how frequently they're hit on the Pro Tour.
Just on that, Neil, you obviously gave us the odds earlier for whether there'll be a 9 darter in the Premier League next week, or this week, should I say, in Cardiff. Do you think the difference between the amount of 9 darters taking place on the floor as opposed to on the TV is related to the fact that, you know, there is no crowd and that maybe the pressure's off a little bit more?
I think statistically, it kind of indicates that is the case, because you know, we're in multiple 9 darters every weekend, and then when it comes to TV, it's some time since we've witnessed one. Sorry. So I think there has to be something in it that it's a slightly more intimidating atmosphere on the stage, and they're not quite as precise and as accurate as they are on the floor.
I've got another question here on Twitter, Josh. This comes in from @Callum Wilco. He's asked, moving forward, do you think every event will be televised to grow the sport, as well as just watching more great darts? Josh, thoughts on that?
I don't think so, no. I mean, there was talks of Q School being streamed this year. It wasn't in the end. I can see the purpose of that, because Q School, it generates so much interest, because you got 450 players in the UK one. But it becomes too saturated if you've got every single event televised. And there's a lot of debate always on social media, isn't there, about what constitutes a major tournament, what constitutes a TV tournament. If you've got every single tournament on TV, I think it loses its appeal a little bit.
It costs a lot of money as well to put a tournament on television, I would imagine.
It does. And I mean, I love darts as much as anybody. You know, it's something I've covered for the last 5-6 years. But I'm not sure you'd want to see a TV tournament every single week, because otherwise the tournaments like the Worlds and the match play, they lose their significance, I think.
No, but that's fine for those enthusiasts that do want to see. You can stream a lot of the dart in action
with European tours always
Pro
on
Tour, European Tour. So pretty much everything does appear either via a stream or by TV, doesn't it? So
yeah,
I don't think we're that far away from it now, but it is expensive. But I suspect whilst the demand's there, they'll continue to do it.
Okay, Josh, any other questions from Facebook?
So Jenny Merter has asked, how much longer can Des Jacklin and the board of the BDO hide behind what is appearing to be a massive cover-up? The World Championship was a bit of a circus, but the promotion of the North Cyprus event has a guaranteed prize pot of 20,000. The press surrounding the whole debacle has not been kind, but neither has the responses from those on the inside. I have personally been attacked online for calling out a misdemeanour myself.
Controversial. Where do we start with that? I mean, I saw some rumours doing the rounds on Twitter. I pay so much attention to social media, perhaps it's probably not the way forward, but a lot of people were commenting on Twitter that the entrance fees that they were charging for entry to some of these competitions, like the one you just mentioned there, the North Cyprus
Open, yeah,
and the Torremolinos one as well, and people were wondering whether they were asking for people to pay their entrance fees to those competitions, and people were speculating whether they were waiting for those entrance fees to come in so they could finish paying off the prize money for the World Championships, and it all got a little bit convoluted and a bit complicated, Josh.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too sure. Like I say, it's speculation, really, so it's not something we can say of any definitive knowledge, but I think the BDO needs to be more social media savvy. Des Jacklin has been quite critical of social media and the impact it's had on the BDO. It's put off potential sponsors, the negativity, but you have to expect the negativity when there's no transparency, because players don't know what's going on, fans don't know what's going on. So I think there needs to be more clarity in terms of the tournaments, and I think we've had a lot of resignations in the BDO or statements coming out from officials. And I'm not trying to be picky, but some of the grammar is just so unprofessional, the way it's worded, and I think they need to help themselves really in that respect. But in terms of, I don't think it is a cover-up. I just think it's a lack of transparency from the BDO, which they need to be better at. You know, Des Jacklin, apparently, I think Wayne Mardle said Des had been explaining to him when Wayne attended the BDO the issues they've been having, but they need to communicate. They need to communicate that with the fans. Let them know what's going on, why the delay in terms of prize money, why the reduction. And I'm sure the fans would be more accommodating, more understanding if they had the knowledge of what was going on.
Yeah, we're talking there about people being attacked online for having opinions on this kind of thing. You know, social media massively in the news, obviously, recently for a number of reasons. But you know, there's no need to sort of get nasty and spiteful with it all. At the end of the day, it's a game of darts, isn't it? the way I see it.
Yeah, but I think it's probably a defence mechanism because there's a lot of negative PR that's being thrown at the BDO. But I think, as Josh says, the word is transparency. And whilst you are being not transparent, you are covering things up. You're not going to, with the state of the productions as they are at the moment, you're not going to get in new backers and new sponsors that are going to make things better. So put your cards on the table. Be transparent about issues. Don't get defensive about it and attack people on social media, and hopefully things will improve. So we're talking about a £20,000 purse, are we, for this? And this is
allegedly, yeah.
And this is in Turkey. So it's in Antalya, I think, in Turkey. So imagine the expenses that go along with that for a £20,000 purse. That doesn't seem something that's going to, fly for too much longer. So as I say, be transparent, be respectful. And things need to improve.
Yeah, hopefully the BDO can get their house in order on those kind of things. And we've always said around this table, guys, time and time again, we value the BDO and its contribution to the game of darts. It's a very important breeding ground and proving ground for up and coming players, Josh, and we hope it remains that way.
Exactly. We just got to hope, keep our fingers crossed. There's a lot of quality players still in the BDO, a lot of law supporters, so fingers crossed for the future.
Josh, I think that's all the questions we've had come in via social media.
That is indeed.
I've got a question for you. Peter Wright, has he been changing his darts, either in the Masters or the Premier League, from the obviously the winning darts from the World Championships? Has he been tinkering, or has he settled?
I think he's tinkered slightly with his stems.
Right.
But in terms of his actual darts, he's still using the same darts he won the World Championship with. So far, so good. But if he has another couple of weeks in the Premier League without winning, I'm sure we will see again. A little bit more tinkering, yeah.
The original darting Tinkerman. Okay. That's all the questions we've got. Thanks for sending them in. You can always send us your questions via the Josh's Dartistry Facebook page, or you can tweet us at Josh's Dartistry. Right then, gentlemen, that brings us neatly on to the end of the show. Neil, you'll be very happy because we've managed to finish a couple of minutes just before the Man U-Chelsea game kicks off, so you can now settle down and watch that.
I am about to park myself in front of your TV. You are about to order me some food. and I've got some 0% cobras in the fridge.
What are we having? Kebab, pizza? What are we doing?
Not kebab after the last one.
No, it was a bit poor the last one we got, wasn't it?
It'd probably be chicken.
Can't get pizza because Josh doesn't like pizza, does he?
Fussy eater, apologies.
Pizza it is.
Okay, well, before we settle down to watch the football and fill our bellies, many thanks for downloading the show. Your support is always appreciated, and you can check us out on all the social media platforms. Get your questions in. Josh loves nothing better than interacting with the JDP fans online. So any questions you've got, or if you just want to have a general chit chat, then that is the place to do it. Josh, episode 21 in the bag, and I'm sure we'll probably have the next show we do might be a bounce out. Maybe we could do a sort of Premier League roundup.
And UK Open's in a couple of weeks' time, so maybe reflect on the UK Open.
Yeah.
You've got your qualifier coming up, if I remember.
Oh yeah,
very funny.
Yeah. Where's that? Riley's in Harlow, isn't it?
Yeah.
Excellent stuff. We look forward to Josh's entry into that. Could be up against some big names.
I wouldn't get too excited. Listening.
Did I see Kevin Painter?
He played in the one that Fallon Sherrock won in Wolves.
Okay.
Yeah. He could be in the Harlow one.
Okay, well,
won't be.
You better have a practice. You better get home and get on the board and
free dart average of 27.6.
Maybe we need to bring back Lord of the Board.
One dart, maybe.
Bring back Lord of the Board, and we can all have a practice.
Redeem myself.
I think I was still winning that, wasn't I?
Anyway, keep your eyes on your favourite podcast provider. There'll be another show coming out shortly. It might be a main show. It might be a bounce out, one of our Skype shows that we do. But as I said, thanks for downloading the show. Thanks for your support. Gentlemen, thanks for your time. Neil, thank you.
Thank you.
Josh, thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
And we will see you next time.
Dartistry, Josh's Dartistry, Josh's Dartistry, Josh's Dartistry.